G'day guys, X-Ray Racer 1 here, and this will be part B of my review of the Broadway Limited Imports M1A N-scale steam locomotive. Now, you'll have to excuse me a sec, it is quite loud. I have the locomotive running, and I've actually been giving this locomotive a good run over the past week, and I am really impressed with it. So to pick up where we left off from, I gave it its first run in the first video, and I did mention that I had a bit of a derailment issue with the rear track on the tender. I have solved that issue. It took a bit of ingenuity and a bit of troubleshooting. What I had to do is with the tunnel, inside the tunnel, I had to raise the track on an angle, and it seems to have fixed the job. It's done the job and it's fixed the issue. Now, during the past week, I have done a little bit of extra programming on the locomotive. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to push the mute button for a quick second. I've done a bit of programming on the CVs. Now, if you're unfamiliar with DCC, the CVs are values of certain functions, so you can raise or lower the intensity of the light, raise and lower the volume, little things like that. But also you can program certain functions or assign certain functions to certain function buttons. So what I've done is function button number 7 is clear. I had a look in there, so I've done something with it and I think you'll like it, but what I will do is I'll turn the sound on again and I will go through with you the functions and what I did. So I'll just turn the unmute it. Okay, so what I also found is if you're using Power Cab or Pro Cab, I just figured out that you have function 10, function 11 and function 12. You hold the shift button in and push that activates other sounds as well, just for future reference. So push function 3, that'll set up the coupler noise. But when I push function 7, well, it's quite self-explanatory.
Okay, we're ready to pull. Okay, you can run on maximum authorized speed. Okay, thank you, sir. Here we go.
And off we go. Right, so what I'll do is I'll get this up and running up to about speed step 30. And I'll turn the light on. Another little feature, if you double tap the whistle, if you get it right, it makes a different whistling sound. No, didn't do it. That's going to make a liar of me, isn't it? Alright, so this video, like I said, will be my final thoughts of this locomotive, and honestly I am loving this locomotive, and you'll see it come out in a second. And so what I'll do is I'll just put my power cable in there. Whoop, that was me by mistake. So as it's going around, as you can obviously tell, it is quite loud. Like I mentioned before, you can program CVs to lower the volume if you find it too loud, but quite frankly I love it. I think it's awesome the way it is. One of the things I will mention, they do say that it is capable of running on a minimum radius of 9 3/4 inch. So 9 3/4 inch, that is this radius here. This is Pico set track. That is a 9 3/4 inch radius, and that is also the same radius that is under the tunnels there. And as you can see, it makes it around quite nicely. So I would assume the derailment issue was my lack of knowledge of track laying, because that's flex track under that tunnel there. But apart from that, it's a fantastic locomotive. I've been enjoying running it this entire week. I have done a bit of a break-in procedure on it. So what I usually like to do is I will run it at various speeds. So and in both directions I should add. I ran it in both directions in varying speeds. But right now I think it is on speed step 28. I'll just have a look. Yeah, speed step 28. So that's what it's on at the moment. And it's going quite nicely. It's easy to program, or like any DCC equipped locomotive. It's if you're unfamiliar with CVs, like for instance, I showed you that announcement function on I put on function 7. If you have troubles understanding the instructions that come in the book, I'm pretty sure your local hobby dealer would be more than happy to help you out and show you how to do it. I just did it on my program track here. But if we're just looking through here, you can see how bright the light is inside the tunnel here. You know, it's really bright. And honestly, yeah. So my final thoughts for this locomotive: it is a fantastic locomotive. It is kind of pricey, but having said that, I have some other locomotives that have sound, and quite frankly, the quality of the sound is not as good. And as we look closely here, the detail of it, everything from the bell, the whistle, well, the bells and whistles, even little things, like you look at the dog box here. If I can get it to zoom, it's a bit hard to get it to focus because of the shining perspex on the dog box there, but you can see the seat in the dog box. I mean, you know, just little things like that. And yeah, it's fantastic detail. And would I recommend this locomotive to someone? If you are willing to spend the money, I will, because I got this locomotive from Model Train Stuff in the United States. I will leave a link in the description to both the website and the page that the locomotive is on. I would recommend it, yes. Although I do recommend, if you do have a layout, make sure that your radius is no less than 9 3/4 inch, because that is the limit that this locomotive can handle. But I love the detail of the locomotive, and I love the sound, and yeah, it's fantastic. So what I'll do is I'll just get it and I'll bring it up here. You'll have to excuse the bumbly hands. So as I slow down, I'm going to try and do this one-handed with my finger here. So I'll start slowing it down, and I'll push the brake function. Okay. I'm sorry about that, folks. I had a bit of I pushed the wrong button there, and I was asking for macros. So yeah, there you go, guys. So this locomotive, I will just mute it. Actually, I'll do the shut off. So, would I recommend this locomotive? Yes, I would recommend it. It is, like I said, it is kind of expensive. However, the detail is phenomenal. The sound is excellent. This camera and the microphone that I'm wearing doesn't do it any justice. You actually have to be here to hear it. So I would recommend this locomotive. I do strongly recommend that you have maybe even a slightly greater than a 9 3/4 inch radius. But apart from that, it's an excellent locomotive. And this I will give a full 10 out of 10 as my final score for this locomotive. It's fantastic. If you have any questions down you want to ask, don't hesitate to comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.